to my YouTube channel. I'm Laura Scott, and I am a narcissist abuse specialist and life coach. So today I wanted to come on here and talk about what's going on in the world and ask you a question. Do you believe that peace is a possibility in this world? And I feel like a lot of people believe that maybe it's possible in the future, but then they see all these bad things happening in the world and then they lose faith, they lose hope that peace can be a possibility in the future. And it's understandable. I really feel like with every new catastrophe, disaster, terrorist attack, any sort of war or virus or anything like that, it just feels like right now the world is in chaos and it's too far gone to ever come to peace. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, and I'm going to tell you why. So I think what we're going through right now is, I'm going to kind of relate this back to narcissistic abuse, because I think we're all collectively in a narcissistic relationship with the powers that be, the government, whoever is in charge, because they like to keep us in a cycle of fear, trauma, and catastrophes. And I'm not saying that, natural disasters or anything are that's created by that, but there are natural things that happen. But whenever there's a terrorist attack or those kind of things, it feeds on our need to know and our fears of what's going on. And it creates in us a trauma that we kind of carry on throughout our lifetime. And we keep replaying this pattern of trauma in order to keep ourselves safe and keep ourselves away from the danger. But from a trauma-informed lens and the polyvagal theory, I know that when we're in our fight or flight response, when we're in our sympathetic nervous system, we are not able to make rational decisions. And we make decisions out of fear, and it perpetuates this cycle of trauma. And we use protector patterns to help soothe ourselves away from the trauma. So that's why a lot of people are prone to addictions at this time. That's why a lot of people, even if it's just, overeating, over drinking, binge watching Netflix, or scrolling through your phone, keeping yourself really busy, all of those things, while in moderation, aren't bad. They can keep you in a cycle of trauma. And what's the way that we can get out of this? What do you think that is the best way that we can rise above all of these traumas? Well, from studying the narcissistic abuse and the cycle of violence, I can tell you that the only way that I've really found in my personal life going through narcissistic relationships that I've broken free from them is really to heal on the inside. And I know that sounds so cliche, and it sounds like just like this woo-woo idea that we're just going to heal on the inside and the outside world is going to be fixed and everything's going to be at peace and it's going to be wonderful. But it doesn't necessarily work like that. But what we can do right now is to look at ourselves and look at the ways that we are choosing protector patterns or addictions or anything else to soothe ourselves away from the trauma. And instead of soothing ourselves away from the trauma and feeling that, we can actually give ourselves some space to actually go inside our body and feel the feelings that we're feeling, which is the opposite of what we're taught in society. We're taught that we have to white knuckle it. We have to keep ourselves busy, keep ourselves away from thinking about it, and that'll make it better. But it doesn't make it better. It just kind of keeps repeating the cycle of anxiety and of trauma. And I think what we really need right now is a way to really sit and listen. And for me, I'm in this narcissistic abuse recovery program right now, and we really go into this almost meditation where we go into ourselves and we feel the trauma, and we actually can see whether it's from our childhood or, if you believe in past lives, where this trauma has come from. And it's not necessarily like you have to know exactly where it came from or exactly what it is. Sometimes you just get a feeling or a pain or something in your body that you feel is related to some sort of survival program. For me, I've been like really healing out a lot of ancestral trauma and past life trauma that is rooted in survival and persecution energy. So I feel like that working through all of that and healing it is really the way that we are going to be able to get through this time and possibly create a more peaceful planet. The reason that people do what they do, and I look at everything now with a trauma-informed lens. I can see people now where they have an addiction, or they're just, going about their day and they're not being like aware of what's going on. I see them and I notice that they're coming from a trauma place. Anytime anyone has something that, maybe I see as bad or I don't agree with, or they're using a destructive pattern, I try to remind myself that they're probably using a protector part to soothe away the pain from some early childhood experience. And, a part of me wishes that nobody had to experience childhood trauma, and that we could all just kind of get along. And like, there is a part of me that just wants, I know that sounds so far away right now, and you're probably like, oh yeah, like it's easy for you to say like we can be at peace, but I do believe that if we can start seeing the world like that, instead of judging people so harshly when they're doing destructive patterns, or they're coming from a place of fear, if we can actually start looking at that and understanding why they may be doing that, and then look at ourselves and see like why we may be creating these patterns, it is a good way to basically step out of the trauma. It's a way of unhooking from the cycle of abuse, and to really be able to love ourselves again. The fear and trauma thrive on not trusting ourselves and not loving ourselves. And when there's things that happen in the world that are so traumatic and so crazy, we, of course, our survival instincts kick in. We have the amygdala. The amygdala is responsible in our brains for the fight or flight response, and it is the reptilian brain. It's basically what animals have, their instinct to fight, flight, or freeze. And when we go into those places, of course, sometimes there is an actual danger, and it is necessary, and we need to get away. But often, this is where PTSD comes from. We hold on to that trauma, and then we can't let go of what had happened. So with everything that's going on in the world, it's really hard to feel like the world can be a better place, or there's, a possibility that we can somehow get through this, or, that it's not going to affect us. And sometimes, people have different ways of coping with this. And one of the coping mechanisms that a lot of people are doing are kind of burying their heads in the sand and saying, I'm not going to watch any news. I'm not going to listen to anything. I'm not going to do any of that. But I don't think that's helpful either. I think that in moderation, yes, for sure, we should not be 24/7 watching the news. But I think it's important to be informed of what's going on, but not get so drawn into it that it is consuming you. So I think, for me, it really breaks my heart when I look at any of the footage or anything that's going on in Israel. And I know what's going on. I haven't been able to come to actually watch any of those videos, because I know that my nervous system would not be able to take that. And I don't want to take those kind of energy in. And, I believe that whenever something like this happens, some people rise up together, and you can look at the helpers. I know that's a Mr. Rogers quote, whenever a bad thing happens, look to the helpers, look at the people that are doing good. And I do believe that there was some of that. Of course there was, when this was happening, but it's not what they focus on. So it's really hard to find those little parts of it. But it's just, for me, I really do believe that we are in tumultuous times. I think that what's happening is that we are witnessing the crumbling of what we've known, of the governments, the systems in play, the monetary system, all of these things that we've held so tightly to, that obviously as we get to this point we see are not working anymore. They're no longer serving us. They're no longer serving humanity. And it's really scary to watch these systems and things break down. It's really scary to watch all of this violence going on in the world. And for me, it's I recognize that I believe that we've evolved past these cycles of war, these cycles of violence. I don't think that we really need to keep creating these problems anymore. But I really think that what we need to do is really focus our attention on healing, and to really know that in this time when we witness all the breaking down, that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We can see that what this is for is the breakdown before the breakthrough. You have to collapse things in order to rebuild, and build it on solid foundation and things that are a lot more steady and grounded and better for humanity. And it's hard to see that when things are breaking down. You think that it's just, everything's just in chaos and the world is just, it's too much. But I really do believe that this is the breaking down before the breakthrough. And I believe that we are going into a better world. It just may not be obvious. It may take a long time. And that's part of the problem too, is that I do believe in our lifetime that we might see peace on earth. And I know that sounds so cliche right now, and people are probably don't want to hear this right now. They don't want to hear that because they're so angry. They're so angry at what happened and what's happening around the world, and they can't understand that would be a possibility. But I do believe that it is a possibility. And it's that little piece of hope that can kind of keep you going when you see all this chaos happening in the world. So thank you guys so much for watching this. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I will be announcing pretty soon. I'm almost finished with my trauma-informed life coaching certification. So I will be starting to take clients and I also want to get back to my EFT tapping. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I have many videos on my YouTube channel. You can check those out. But for those that do, I want to ask, do you want to see the Tapping Tuesdays come back? I'm considering maybe doing that again, or doing something else, doing meditations, or maybe card pull. But yeah, I'm just kind of trying to play around with like what people want to see. So let me know in the comments below what you want to see. If you want to see the EFT tapping, if you want to see meditation, or I'm considering maybe doing like pulling cards or oracle cards and stuff. So just let me know. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.